my goal for the next couple of days is to offer you some options to think about for the second paper in which you will analyze a visual image. So I was looking through a 2021 copy of Elle magazine, and I found this Louis Vuitton ad with, of course, a very thin model. And this is part of a kind of three-part spread. And the model is in the bed with the purse in each of the photos. But I thought this one was telling the most complex story. She's in bed with the purse, which is at her back. So the kind of questions you have to ask about the story an image is telling so that you can analyze it are questions like these. First of all, who does the purse replace in her bed? Who would we expect to see in the bed, and why does the purse replace it? What does that tell us about women and women's desires and women's relationship goals, perhaps? Second, when you look closely at the body, the placement of her hand here is really suggestive. So, again, it tells us something about perhaps her sexuality or her identity. And more importantly, this photo with its very lovely, nice lighting and this very fair, lovely model contrasts quite significantly with this other set of photos from the same magazine. Now, this model is incredibly beautiful with her very striking features and truly perfect balance among the different features on her face. Yet we see in this image one of those poses that makes it look like she's been pushed or has fallen and perhaps is looking at someone who has harmed her. And thinking back to Kilbourne, that's how you have to determine what the story this image tells us, says about her and her power or lack of power in the world. But more importantly, this spread that features the model also does some strange things with photography. For example, this image in which her eyes aren't opened, but the photo itself is blurred. And the contrast between the red, that's the background, and the clothing, the light kind of reflecting from her skin, works very differently than the photos that we usually see of models. And the last photo of her is another example of this, where you can hardly make out her features. And of course, modeling is meant to emphasize the clothing, but this is a spread about her. It's not just an advertisement for the clothing. So what story does it tell us about her if she is so difficult to see, and the contrast between the red shininess of the clothing and the black shininess of her skin gets manipulated through photographic technique? Patricia Hill Collins and Jean Kilbourne might figure into your assessment of how these images tell us about the model. So again, I will have another video soon about the paper assignment, but these might be some food for thought, and I invite you to analyze any one of them for the second paper.